Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. What's going on, man? We are here. We in the building. Top Flight TV in the flesh, man. What's going on? It's a lot going on out here in these entertainment YouTube streets. Uncle Snoop, Uncle Snoop is putting the weed down. So he says. This is a very interesting topic. I only talk about interesting topics, man. If y'all don't know yet, or at least interesting to me. And this could possibly turn into a debate, and I'm gonna explain why in a minute. Okay, so if you're not up to speed, man, Uncle Snoop, Snoop Doggy Dog, he he said he's gonna put down the marijuana. Everybody knows Snoop for being a major marijuana connoisseur, if you will, a major weed smoker, an advocate. Okay, yeah, okay. So we got somebody chiming in. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. So yeah, Snoop said that he is not smoking anymore, and to respect his privacy. Now, my take on that, my opinion on that. Look here, man. A while back, there was a headline, and they were talking about Shades. What's up, homie? They were talking about how many blunts Snoop smokes in one day, and how he has a professional weed roller. And I'm not here to judge anybody. I want to make that very clear. If you smoke weed, more power to you. It's not for me anymore, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But I'm not here to judge anybody. Whatever floats your boat, as long as you're taking care of your business, care of your responsibilities, as long as you're comfortable in life, and weed is not a problem, that's cool with me. My man said, I realized smoke, Xavier Fisher, I realized smoke a pack of backwoods. Oh shit, what happened? Hold up. What happened? What I do? There we go. My man said he smokes a pack of backwoods. We're gonna get to that, man. But anyway, there was the headline about 2-3 years ago, how Snoop smokes, I don't want to say a number, but they were saying he smokes an extreme amount of weed a day, to the point where he has to hire a blunt roller, joint roller, whatever. And I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, to have all that money and to just smoke so much weed, right? You have to spend your whole day smoking weed. That has to be very exhausting, and it has to be time consuming. And I want to know, what is the reason that you need to be that high all day? And I'm asking a rhetorical question because I understand addiction. But I just felt like, man, that can't be any quality of life, to have to smoke all that weed all day. Me in my right mind today, I could not see myself being productive smoking all these joints, you know, throughout the day, man. And I don't want to. That's the thing. Today, I don't want to. I like my clear mind. I like being in control of my thoughts, actions, and words. I like to be in reality. I like to be in the present. There was a time where I did not want to be in reality at all, whatsoever. And I might do more videos on my story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Check it out, man. Because I think a lot of weed smokers, are confronted with this issue every once in a while. I think every once in a while, people who love marijuana and they advocate for it, I think after a while, sometimes it gets to them, and they're like, man, I want to stop. About Some years ago, I posted on Facebook how weed was addictive. And let me tell you something, man. People got my ass, right? I had a lot of pushback on that post, and people swore that weed was not addictive. And most of the people that disagreed with me, they were weed smokers and they were weed lovers. So I understand that they want to justify, whatever they're doing. No problem. I don't believe everybody is addicted to weed, but I do believe weed is very addictive. And I'm just speaking from my personal experience. When I was a kid, I smoked weed and I had to have weed. And there were pros and cons. The cons outweighed the pros. I was always getting arrested with some damn weed because of some weed. On the way to get some weed, I was always getting arrested. Uh, Kicked out of school for smelling like weed, for being high, all kind of different hurdles because of some damn marijuana, dog. It caused so much trouble in my life. Um, and that's not for everybody. Some people, they can roll a joint, and I didn't know this until late in life. Some people can roll a joint. They can roll a joint on a Friday when they get off work, smoke half the joint, put it out, and not smoke it till the next Friday, the week later. Some people, some people can do that. Then you got the weed heads. And weed heads are addicts. Let's just keep it a buck, man. An addict that has to have weed every day, all day. And when Snoop was smoking his weed, and they brag about hiring blunt rollers and all this stuff. They make it look glamorous, but at the end of the day, it's an addiction, right? And I'm glad that he's addressing his addiction. And what it did was it actually made other people say, hey, I need to look at my addiction. Meek Mill said the same thing. Meek Mill said, hey, man, I'm about to stop too. It's affecting parts of my life that's keeping me from reaching my full potential. Um, Throughout the world, especially in the black community, it's a lot of people that could be great. It's a lot of people with a lot of talent that have a lot of knowledge and a lot of uh, attributes that can make them millionaires. But the problem is, from what I've seen personally in my life, a lot of people are addicted to marijuana. So when you're addicted to marijuana, at the end of the night, as long as you got a bag, you're not striving. I know, I'm gonna just speak for myself and others that I've seen in my life. You could have a business idea and you could follow through with that business idea. But when that weed is in the way, at the end of the night, if you got a bag, you feel accomplished. I know for me, when I had a bag of weed at the end of the night and I could wake up and smoke a blunt, I felt accomplished. And that kept me, it held me back. You know, I'm really happy that the message is getting out there, because the problem is, when I was a kid, I was smoking weed and I was damaging my brain cells. They say when we're younger, our brain isn't fully developed. So what we have is a bunch of kids smoking weed. Their brain isn't fully developed, so they're not growing emotionally or intellectually or mentally. And I'm a product of that. When I stopped, my man asked me a question. I got clean at 23, dog. And, I went further than weed, and I'll get into that at some point. Um, but weed was the gateway drug for me. I started with weed, dog, and after a while, like, dog, why don't I want to sit here and smoke all this damn weed? There is something that will get me high. You know what I mean? Like, why am I gonna smoke all these blunts, and a lot of this weed is dirt. A lot of this weed is giving me a headache. Uh, Why do I want to do this? I can just go smoke this, and I'll be straight to the moon. That was my thinking after a while. And that came from constantly smoking weed. So Snoop is doing a very brave thing. I hope he keeps it up. Very is Not a lot of people had success in getting clean from weed because number one, they don't want to go to any type of treatment. They don't want to go to any type of 12-step fellowship. They don't want to continue recovery. They think they can just stop, right? And they think they're strong enough to just stop. And some people are. Some people can stop. They have the willpower to say, I'm done with that. I'm not messing with it. Others aren't as strong and they'll attempt to stop. And then the next thing you know, they're around they buddies that's smoking. They're in these environments, or they might just feel like, hey, I think I'm better now. I think I can smoke some weed now. And they back in that vicious cycle. You understand? So I know for me, man, I needed a 12-step program. I still go to a 12-step program, and I probably tell it too much because I don't really talk about this like that. But I go to a 12-step. I went to a meeting last night, man. I go to at least 3 meetings a week, and it's never stopped. You know what I'm saying? For as long as I've been clean. Now you have the dispensaries. You got the dispensaries out there, and the dispensaries and the medical cards, they make it very socially acceptable. You know what I'm saying? They make it extremely socially acceptable to smoke weed. And the problem with that is some people need it, man. I appreciate that, big dog. Appreciate that, man. You can do it, man. Look here, I tell my nephews and I tell other youth and I tell other people, man, our brain, our mind is our most important weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like in this world, my mind, the the tool that I use to think is the most important, one of the most important things I have because it all starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. And if I'm clouding my mind up, I'm smoking it up, I'm killing brain cells, and I'm just high as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't reach my full potential. I can't. I'm not saying everybody. Um, People have to make their own judgment calls. Are you successful, you know, as you're living your lifestyle that you smoke weed every day, all day? I'm not saying anybody does, but um, you got to ask yourself these questions, man. I want my mind to be clear. I got to be sharp out here. It's too much going on out here. I don't want to spend my money on things of that nature. Um, there was a point in time I was the exact opposite. I was a weed head. I would leave class to smoke weed. I would skip school. I didn't go to school unless I had weed. You dig? I didn't go to school unless I had it or I was high. And man, that was my life. That was our life. And what we do as boys carries over and transfers into our life as men. It affects our life as men. What I did as a young boy, it affected me when I got 18. Shit, when I got 18, 19, 20, I was lost in the world. I hadn't paid attention in school. I hadn't paid attention in life. People were advancing. People my age were advancing in life, and I was stuck smoking weed. You know what I mean? I had weed, cause like we had some weed to smoke, and it was still all about that. 19, 18, 19, it was still all about chasing weed and smoking weed. First thing on my mind when I wake up. Now, if a millionaire like Snoop Dogg can make this change, that lets you know the impact that it can have. It lets you know that something is not right there. It's not as glamorous as they try to tell us it is, and that they try to sell it to be. If I could smoke without being addicted and having to have it every day, I probably would. If I could smoke occasionally. I'm not one of those occasional smokers. I don't occasionally do shit. I can't drink because I don't occasionally drink. If it feels good to me, I'm gonna do it every day, all day. You dig? That's just how my body and mind is set up. That's just how that's how I'm set up, man. Not everybody's not the same. I have an addictive personality. Apparently Snoop has an addictive personality, right? And he's trying to correct that. And maybe it might be some more than weed going on over there. This is Hollywood, dog. This is the music industry. Maybe Snoop. I'm not saying he is, but it's a possibility. He's playing with his nose or something. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? But either way, regardless, um, he made a big stance, a big statement. I hope a lot of people follow suit, especially us brothers. They want us running around here high. They want us to be high and stupid out here. High, stupid, and clueless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, imagine, a lot of people that talk about the government, they talk about these conspiracy theories. They talk about how the government is trying to brainwash us. They don't got to brainwash us, dog. All they got to do is open these dispensaries up. And guess what? Everybody's in la la land. When they made marijuana recreational, the lines at the dispensaries was so long, right? I mean, it was so many people going to get high, man. And I'm not knocking it. Whatever you do is cool. As a man, I have a responsibility. I have to make sure I navigate through this life on point. I have to be on point, man. I got 2 kids. I got a mortgage, car note. You dig? I don't want to be slipping out here. Um, and if I was slipping for a long time, man. I was slipping for a long time, and you know, I know people that are in the program strictly because of weed, and there's nothing wrong with that. People will actually laugh at you if you say, "Hey, I need to get help because of marijuana," and you know, if marijuana wasn't addictive, let's ask the question. Let's get into the question, man. Let's get into the question. If marijuana wasn't addictive, why is it that people actually go to jail because they pee dirty? Ask yourself that question. You know somebody that's on probation, right? You know somebody that's been on probation. And you know that they have been running around looking for clean pee. Right? Right or wrong? They've been running around looking for gold. In my day, it was golden seals. And gold seals were supposed to clean your system out. Um, I went into my PO with fake urine, you know what I'm saying, or a bottle, somebody else's urine. You know what I mean? So ask yourself that question. If it's not addictive, why are there people out here that will actually go to jail? I mean, like 6 months because they smoke some weed, because they can't stop. If it was that easy to stop, you wouldn't see nobody running around here asking for clean pee. There's so much evidence that lets us know the addictive attributes of marijuana. You ever been around a weed head and they don't have weed? They are irritable, right? They are easily agitated. You know what I mean? Like, come on, y'all. Y'all know. I'm not the only one. I used to hate that feeling when I didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? I felt lost in the world. I felt irritable. You know what I mean? I felt a lot of feelings that I don't have to feel today, dog. I don't need shit. The only thing I need is, okay, I'm a coffee addict. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of coffee. I do a lot of coffee, and I do a lot of nicotine, okay? I was smoking cigarettes at 12, man. So I'm grateful for these little things. I'm not endorsing, but I'm grateful for this vape. I told myself I'm gonna stop smoking cigarettes when I turned 13. You did. I was addicted to cigarettes very early, and those are the 2 things that I would say I have to work on: caffeine and nicotine. I'm just grateful that I'm not, under that influence of the smoky smoke, man. Because it really slowed me down. Later on, man, I'm just keeping it a buck, man. Later on, man, I ain't gonna go there right now. I'll get into that on another broadcast, but um, I just didn't see the point in smoking dirt weed and trying to find good weed and all this other stuff. So yeah, man. Shout out to Uncle Snoop. Let's see how it goes for him. Shout out to Meek Mill, man. Let's get these positive messages out here, man. You know, it's so easy to self-destruct. It's so easy to just run around high and drunk and just under the influence, man. I mean, what purpose does that serve? You know, again, if you can do it, do it. You know, but if that's all you do, and if that's a major part of your life, you know, if that's something that you got to do every day, you're irritable. You already know, Shades. You already know, brother. You don't want to talk to nobody. You're mad. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not fun. It's not fun. It's not a good feeling, man. It's not a good feeling. And then think about the money that's spent. How much money do we spend on weed, man? It's expensive. It's expensive. That's an expensive habit. You know, we probably could have, people could have had houses and cars and, you know, just living a whole nother lifestyle, man. But I tell you what, getting clean was the best decision I ever made, man. It wasn't easy. It's still not easy. I don't think about getting high like that no more. I think about drinking every now and then. Last New Year's, I wanted to drink, man. You know, last New Year's, I bought an outfit. I hadn't took my girl out. Matter of fact, we never been out for New Year's Eve. But I bought an outfit, bought this slick hat, and I'm like, man, something in me was like, man, I want to celebrate. But that alcohol is a killer as well. The alcohol is a killer. You know, I caught my first DUI a week after I got my license. You know what I'm saying? Alcohol, you know, is a drug. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of the worst ones because it's legal. You know, how many people die in car wrecks and things? And, you know, above all that, man, the black community, we don't talk about. See, everybody pops bottles and we talk about drinking liquor and stuff like that. But what about when you are 60 years old and your liver is shutting down because you didn't drink 4 nights out the week? Nobody talks about that. All we talk about is the good part, the celebration. Let's pop a bottle. You know what I'm saying? But nobody talks about the health aspect of our culture. You know, they tell us to smoke weed. They tell us to drink, drink, drink. You know what I'm saying? But what about when the party's over, when you're 60, and now you got to be in the hospital on dialysis, and you got to be taking these trips because what you did in your younger days. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to think about, man. It's something I thought about. You know, I watch people in my family. Alcohol affects them. They affected real heavy by alcohol. What about wet brains, dog? Y'all ever heard of wet brains? Y'all know what wet brains is? I know growing up and seeing certain people in my neighborhood, and I'm like, what's wrong with dude? Like, he got wet brains. You know what I'm saying? He drank too much, and now he's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like he's out, he lost it. You know what I'm saying? Like alcohol will do that to you. You know, so I'm not here to preach or judge, man. I'm just speaking to those that may want to stop or that have already stopped. You know, is marijuana addictive? In my personal opinion, absolutely. Too much of anything is bad for you, right? That's a saying. You know, even if it feels good, too much of anything is bad for you. Uh, I gotta find that post, man. It had like 300 comments. People were offended that I would say something like marijuana is addictive. They were offended. But you know, at the end of the day, I knew most of those people, and I knew they couldn't stop. They can't stop smoking weed. Go a week without smoking weed, and they say, no, I don't want to. I don't want to stop. You know, all right. People on probation. You know, there's so many different examples I can give y'all, man. But it definitely has especially now from what I'm hearing, all the chemicals that they putting in these lab grown packages, the marijuana, they putting chemicals in it. Some people getting fentanyl on their weed. It's a different day, man. You know, when I was young, man, they told me, you know, we thought about weed like, oh, it's just weed, you know, but we didn't know it was gonna hinder our growth. You know what I mean? But I appreciate y'all checking in with me, man. Thanks, Shades, man. Thanks for everybody that commented. Xavier, appreciate you commenting, man. Y'all hit the like, hit the subscribe, man. And we gonna chop it up. I might do another joint. I want to talk about Diddy, man. I want to talk about Diddy and Cassie. I think I might do that in the next couple minutes. I want to talk about Diddy and Cassie in this situation and give my 2 cents and ask some questions. You know, I want to ask some questions because this shit is getting spooky out here. I mean, who we got? We got Michael Jackson. We got Chris Brown. We got Diddy. We got R. Kelly. The list goes on, man. Everybody, dog. All of our greats. All of our greats are being targeted. You know, soon we won't have nobody left to call great. Russell Simmons has fled the country. My man fled the country. You know what I mean? Like, Russell Simmons, dog. Like, come on, man. Who's next? Who's next? You know, I don't buy the bullshit, man. But anyway, that's for another video. I might get to that here soon. But appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Y'all have a productive